Hey guys, just going to make a quick video based on what I think are the top 5 attacking operators, the top 5 defending operators for when you're solo queuing. One thing that does my head into no end is when people who are solo queuing just instantly go straight for Ashe and or Vigil. Ashe because they tend to just run in and get killed. Vigil because they tend to go on the opposite side of the damn map. And that happens all the time. When this happens, it's quite infuriating, especially on places like Clubhouse, where quick plants are a very real thing. So, starting with attackers. Sledge, definitely, for a solo queue. When you're solo queuing, you do want to make it so you are self-sufficient in multiple different ways. And this is a loadout that I use for Sledge. Obviously, he's about to lose the SMG-11, unfortunately. Pretty standard loadout. Let's quickly fix that. There we go. Now it looks good. And obviously, run frag grenades. Reason for using him, obviously the soft destruction. You do have the frag grenades if you need them. Makes it very, very simple when doing various things. So if they're in kitchen on cafe, for example, getting in the train, taking up the floor, you also do want to be able to do stuff to help your team out, which is another reason why Sledge is a good pick. Alright, moving on to my next pick. My next pick is definitely going to be Habana, depending on which place you're attacking. So for Oregon, if I'm solo queuing or even when I'm in a 5-stack, I use Habana quite a lot. I constantly alter between... This isn't quite right. Constantly alter between the ACOG and the reflex, depending on which site I think they're going to be in. So using Oregon, for example, she is very good for soloing the back end. So going up through Big Tower, just go straight into Meeting Hall, shoot straight up to get rid of any bandit charges, especially if Cade is banned. If Cade is banned, it makes it a lot easier. If he's on the board, it does make it harder. From there, you do have your flashbangs. You should always use the flashes over the breaches. Well, not always, but most of the time. Kit I generally use looks like that. Plain and simple. Bearing 9, sometimes I do run the silencer just to stay a bit more quiet. The reason why I like using Habana for assault on Big Tower in Oregon is she's a lot quieter than using someone like Ace. Although you can use it with Ace, it does make a lot more noise. Alright, so now moving on to my next pick. My next pick is going to be Yana. Reason for this is that she is quite versatile now as well. The fact that you do have basically an extra drone with a Gemini. My setup, pretty easy one. I really miss these seasonal skins you used to be able to get with the season passes. Volcanic was really good. The other one's called like Oryx or Onyx or something. That one was awesome. But yeah, obviously any operator that has the Gon 6, use the Gon 6. It is so much more powerful than people give it credit for. And out of these two, depending on the situation, generally speaking, you want to take the frags. But if a teammate does ask you to bring extra smokes because they want to go for a smoke plant, by all means use it. Smokes are also very powerful. Alright, moving on for my fourth pick is going to be Lion. Lion is one that I wouldn't have put up there up until recently. And yes, he's been through nerfs, he is completely inferior to his original version. Anyone with half a brain cell will tell you that one. So why do I use Lion, and why do I use the DMR? Plain and simple, I use the DMR purely because it is a 2-tap kill. The only people it doesn't seem to 2-tap kill is a 3 armor with rook armor, or if they're overhealed. If you land that first bullet, you go and land that second bullet, guaranteed kill. Obviously one-shot headshots. But yep, so that's the setup that I do use for it. Generally speaking, I do run Claymore. For some reason it has flashes selected, but whatever. I use Claymore, and of course the Gon 6. Where I've found that he's starting to become much more powerful is playing him in the way that Blackbeard was meant to be played, as a very supportive operator. Most notable places I use him is on coastline, if they're in hookah. Claymore off down the bottom part, heading into sunrise. Then you rappel on the wall, not where the window is, but on where the top of the stairs are. Just rappel there. Very tight angle, looking straight into sight. Gon 6, in case they got a deployable shield or a castle barricade, smack it out. We've actually won numerous rounds because we've had a Gon 6 with it. And it's just made things so much easier. So, yep, that's how I'd play it. And of course, like team aspect of it, if you see your teammates are making a push, quickly hit R1 or whatever your action button is set to. I'm playing on the PS5. Just hit the button, watch them just stand still, giving you guys 3 seconds to move in. Pretty simple. The other place I do use them is if they are upstairs on cafe, so up in the bar. Similar sort of thing. I'll put my claymore down near the entrance to reading room, and I'll rappel up, overlooking the bomb site, and shoot through the freezer wall. That way I completely cut off one rotation from them. Very useful. Moving on to my fifth and final pick for attackers, definitely going to go with Fuse. Fuse is a lot more self-sufficient than people give him credit for. Generally speaking, I run the AK-12, but it is about to get nerfed. We'll see how that plays out. He is also about to make it so they can be used on reinforced walls. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays. So that's the general setup that I use for him. Pretty easy. Hard breach versus breach charge. This is where it's going to come down to. It just depends on the map. So again, using Oregon for example, if they have a Cade, I'll generally pick Fuse over Habana if I know they're going upstairs. If they're going downstairs and I know they're going to be downstairs, I don't pick Fuse at all. It's completely useless because where are you going to be able to get? You might find a soft wall, but generally speaking, there's not much you can do. So if they are up top and Cade's on the board, I'll go to games room, rappel upside down, very top, fuse the window, and then suddenly I can go in through master bedroom and into the closet, use the hard breach charge to get access to the objective. Alternatively, using cafe again, if they are in kitchen on cafe, get into train as well as fireplace with breach charges. Unless you do want to get the hatch, personally I take breach charges in that point rather than a hard breach. The hatch I'm not as concerned about. More than likely a teammate will be running a hard breacher, and the kills might be a bit more important. But the other good thing about Fuse is if you get those cluster charges off and you don't get any kills, it doesn't matter. You're going to get rid of utility. So it's just learning where to put them that makes sure that you're going to destroy any mute jammers, bandit charges, maybe even frost mats, etc. etc. Another good one is obviously in the garage on consulate. Get in the piano room. Rather than going and fusing right where the reinforced wall is, do it a bit more towards the windows of piano room, because there's always going to be someone sitting right behind the white van. Do it there, it's almost a guaranteed kill. Alright, that's the attackers done. So moving on to the defenders, obviously the first defender I'm going to say is Smoke. Smoke is one of the operators where it does not matter what room you're in, Smoke is always an acceptable pick. There is never a reason not to have a Smoke. In regards to setup, it all depends on what room I'm in. I utilize pretty much everything here, except for the pistol. So everyone will tell you to take the shotgun over the FMG. Yeah, that is definitely true, but there is one room that I do use the FMG over the shotgun, and that's on coastline if we're in kitchen. And in that circumstance, I'll use the bulletproof shield, and I have a very tight peek hole onto the service entrance door. For that, obviously I don't want the shotgun, I want the FMG. Yes, I can still do it with the SMG-11, but the FMG has a bit better recoil control. So that's a general setup for the shotgun and for the SMG. Other circumstances where I do use a different setup, again using coastline, if I'm on hookah, then I'll run shotgun SMG combo, barbed wire on the blue stairs, obviously holding rotate. That way if they do go for a quick plant, just very quickly throw my smoke canisters through the rotate hole and blast them. Second that you hear barbed wire be shuffled, just spin around with that shotgun, hip fire it if you want to, it's almost a guaranteed kill. One of the big things I see a lot of people making mistakes with smoke, using their canisters way too early. Don't use them till the last 30 seconds unless there's a plant going down. So if I see a Montaigne come in and I hear a defuse, obviously I'm going to use my canister. If that doesn't happen, and using hookah for an example, I know they're all out on the platform, out in the balcony, I'll wait till the very last 30 seconds. 35 seconds, I'll throw my first canister, but I won't blow it till it hits 30 seconds. Quickly throw a second one, just wait. When it hits 20, hit it again, and again when it hits 10. That way you've got 30 seconds where they can't come through a door without taking a lot of damage. Also bear in mind, smoke canisters do not stack in damage. Don't throw all three and expect triple damage. Doesn't work. Okay, moving on to my second pick for defense. Definitely going with mute. There is not a single room where mute is not useful. If you're new to the game, definitely pick mute. Plus, this is what I call my sexy mute outfit. I love this outfit. Similar style thing, I utilize 3 of these 4 guns. I always bring the nitro cell. I don't think there's ever been a time where I brought a bulletproof camera. That's the setup that I personally use for the SMG. What's it called? The MP5K. Some people do use the 1.5. I personally, for whatever reason, just cannot get kills with it. The shotgun's the same setup as my other shotgun, obviously. Same with the SMG-11. When you're playing mute, one of the big mistakes people do is they always just put it near doors and that's it. Or a lot of times I'll put it in the middle of the door. Always put it off to the side. Pay attention to who else you've got with you. If you don't have a bandit, use the mute charges on reinforced walls. It is so much more important than a drone getting through. Pretty simple. Obviously, you do have the nitro cell. Another good thing about mute is he counters so many operators. Not just drones, not just high breaches or cluster charges, but even things like Dokkaebi cores, line scans. If Finka is standing in the vicinity of one, she cannot use her boost. Or if you get chased by a blitz, you do want to get near a mute jammer because it'll stop him from using his shield. I used to main blitz, and going against a mute was infuriating. Okay, moving on to my third pick for defense. My third pick, definitely Castle. A lot of people think Castle is very weak and underpowered. I wouldn't say he's underpowered. The problem is that he's either really weak and detrimental, or he's really strong. It just depends on who's playing him, as well as the situation of what room you're in, where you're placing your castles, and also who you're going against. That plays a big role. Generally speaking, I run the UMP45. However, when I play Favela, I've actually been running the shotgun quite a lot. I hate Favela, but sometimes it does pop up. Secondary, super shorty. Don't even consider the pistol. You want the super shorty for rotates, and the majority of the time I use the proximity alarm. If not all the time, I don't think I have used the bulletproof. A good example of where Castle is incredibly self-sufficient, where you can cover numerous angles, as well as have insight to where people are coming from, is Cash and CC on Clubhouse. So the way on how to do that would be that you castle off the window to sight, you do the rotation into garage, you also castle off heading into construction room, and for the third castle, I just keep a hold of it in case I need to replace one. Put a proximity on red stairs, and put a proximity under the window of sight that you did castle off, so if it does get damaged, you're going to know if someone jumps in. If you go in the cash room, you can jump up onto one of the tables, shoot out the top of the wall. With this as well, you'll be able to see straight through all the way into garage. You'll have your back covered, and the place that is exposed will have a proximity on it. The second you hear it, you can quickly rotate to red stairs. Pretty simple. He is actually incredibly strong in that situation. One thing that is going to be detrimental is your teammates. If they go and rip down one of the castle barricades, most notably the one to construction, alternatively, it might be the fact that they are locked on the other side, and that can be detrimental. So it's not so much that he's bad, it just depends on what your team is doing, because a castle will be really good for your team or really bad depending on what they're doing. Alright, so moving on to my fourth pick for defense is going to be Legion. For pretty obvious reasons for anyone who's played Legion. Obviously, the longer you stay alive, the more powerful you become. One of the best things that you can do with him is just anchor. Yes, it's possible to roam with him, but just anchor if you know that your team is capable of roaming. If you're in a situation where you're losing to the same thing over and over and you need to leave sight, by all means. But generally speaking, try to stay in sight. Because again, the longer you're alive, the more dangerous you become. The amount of times I have seen a lesion trap be the determining factor on winning or losing an entire game. Because people wait till the last second, push, get hit by a goo mine, and they can't plant. So definitely with that. Obviously, the shotgun sucks. Don't even waste your time. T5 all the way, pistol secondary, impact nades. Again, I've never used the bulletproof on him. For me, I constantly change between holo and reflex, but whatever's best for you, use that. And that's pretty much it. Anyways, Play Legion will tell you that you can't go wrong with him. Alright, and for my fifth and final pick for defense, gonna be Thunderbird. So Thunderbird, newest operator at this point in time. Very strong in healing. Do not be one of those jerks that has all three in your inventory waiting till you take damage before you place them. Don't do that. Place them around the site. If I'm solo killing, I'm using her, I tend to anchor a lot and not roam. The setup that you can use is really up to you. I personally use the spear alongside with the bearing 9. However, the spaz with the bearing 9 also works. I don't know why you'd pick the pistol at any point. Impact versus nitro. Depends. It really depends. If I know that they're running a blitz, then I'm going to be using impacts, just to give me that bit of chance to fight off against it. If I know they're running Montane, Nitro Cell. This one's just going to come down to personal preference. Spear setup, that's my current one. Works alright. Obviously, you can revive yourself in your Kona stations. You can also heal your teammates. One thing that's going to be detrimental is I constantly come across people who go and grab all three things just to put himself to 120 health because they like being overhealed. Then the thing's on cooldown and you could be in a situation where you've got 5 health, you're getting pushed, you desperately need that extra, but it's cooling down. Just do what you can. There's not much that can be done. And that's pretty much it for the list. There are no particular order, of course. It's just down to personal preference. For me, I play based on the room as opposed to one and only.